Peace and blessings, YouTube viewers and YouTube subscribers. This is the Ravenous Blackbird, and you have reached the Ravenous Blackbird YouTube channel once again, my friends. And if you are a first time viewer, second time viewer, third time viewer, so forth and so on, and you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, right below this video, if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to click subscribe. And right next to the subscribe button, you will find a bell, okay? And click that bell button and you will get notification every time I post a new video, just like this one. You get notification to your phone, to your laptop, to your computer, however you're viewing these YouTube videos. And I welcome you to my channel, and I'm your host, the Ravenous Blackbird. And we're going to talk about a very serious subject. A lot of my videos are very serious. I do a lot of research, a lot of studying, a lot of praying as well, to make sure I say, godly words, words that are truth, but words that are in love. And this is in regards to the Asian American hate crimes that have been happening, also from the black perspective and vice versa. Um, Now, Asian Americans, and I welcome Asian Americans that are watching this, Chinese, Korean, Latino, excuse me, Korean, uh, um, whatever ethnicity part of the Asian community that you're from, whether Japan, whether, China, whether Korean, so forth and so on. You get what I'm saying. I welcome you because I want you to know in this video, I'm going to say some things that may rub some black people the wrong way, and it may rub some Asian Americans the wrong way. But everything that I'm speaking today, I pray that you receive it in love. I'm not here to beat up anybody. I don't have a prejudice bone in my body. I was never raised to be prejudiced. I was never raised to discriminate or show favoritism or injustice toward another race, or because of the color of somebody's skin. And I think that is not of God. I think it's a demonic mindset. It's a mindset that it's a brainwashed mindset. Prejudice and discrimination is something that is taught to an individual. They receive it and then they grow up with it, and then it turns also into hate, and then the hate turns into what's called hate crimes, which is what we're seeing on, toward Asian Americans. And my heart goes out to every Asian American that is watching this video and have watched many other videos, because I have a lot of love for the Asian community. I grew up on martial arts movies. I'm a big, fan of Bruce Lee. Uh, a few of my closest friends are from China, and I haven't talked to them in a long time. But I will be reaching out to them to make sure that they are okay, and not only okay, but they're safe. That's what people that love other people do. And so I extend my love and my gratitude to every Asian American, Black, Latino, whoever, but especially the Asian Americans that may come across this video. I ask also that you share this video as well, and I would love to have you as a YouTube subscriber and as a family member on my channel. But I will say some things today that may rub some people the wrong way, whether Black or Asian American. There has been, I want to start off by saying also that the Black community, especially Black men, have been, and Black women too, but have been targets for decades. You go back and check your records, Martin Luther King, the slave ships, Harriet Tubman, all of that stuff. If you know anything about history and Black history, that what Asian Americans are experiencing now, they now feel like they're targets. Now, how symbolic is that? That has happened for years and still happening today, with the police brutality, with the George Floyd situation, and many other situations, decade upon decade, month after month, year after year, and nothing's ever been done about it. And it continues with blacks being treated indifferently. And now the tables have turned. And the tables have now turned on the Asian American community. And now, again, I'm saying this to make a point, not to, to beat up on anybody, but a lot of us probably didn't look at it from this point. That now the Asian Americans, and I'm not saying that Asians have never been persecuted or ridiculed, but it has not been to the extent like the black community. Okay? Uh, I'm going to make a few points in regards to this. Uh, Asian Americans now know what it feels like to have to watch their back. When you walk outside and you don't know whether or not somebody's going to pull up on you, put a gun to your head, or pull out a baseball bat. You don't feel safe in your own home. You don't feel safe when you go to the grocery store if you're going out. Me myself, I'm still practicing self-distancing, quarantining, because we're not out of the COVID-19 yet, and yet now you're facing another enemy, as the black community has been facing this enemy of prejudice, injustice, discrimination, being looked at indifferently just because of the color of your skin. I understand that this hate crime is being based upon against the Asian Americans, the COVID-19 pandemic, that they are the blame. And COVID-19 supposedly started in China. It didn't start in Korea. It didn't start in Japan. But nevertheless, even if it did start in China, that gives nobody the right to disrespect, kill, beat up on, bully, or target a certain race because something, I guess they say, it was mistakenly brought about, or was it planned? COVID-19. Regardless of the fact whether it was a mistake or whether it was planned in the lab as an experiment, no race should have to feel like they're targeted. And now I'm saying to the Asian American community, the tables have now turned. And now what blacks and the black community have been experiencing and getting, especially black men, from not entire police force, but certain bad apples, because I have love, a lot of love, for our law enforcement as a conservative Christian and for our military. So I don't call the entire police department pigs, okay? There are some bad apples in every bunch. But now the Asian Americans now know what the black men feel like when they're targets, driving in their car in the streets, not knowing if they're going to be pulled over by a few of those bad apples. Now the Asian American community knows what it feels like to not feel safe when you lay your head down at night, not knowing if somebody's going to try to disrespect your household with your family in it. Now the Asian American community knows what it's like to feel indifferent, beyond feeling indifferent. Again, I'm not saying that the Asian American community has never felt slighted, but this is the most that it's been. It's escalated. It's at an all-time high. And now the tables have turned. And black people have felt slighted, targeted. Imagine Asian American community. Imagine having to deal with this for decades. When you go apply for a job, when you're driving in your car as a black man, ask many of the black men out there how they feel insecure. That's why most of them carry a gun. And now, my brothers and sisters in the Asian community, and you know exactly what it feels like to be targeted. Now, I also want to bring out another point. And again, I'm trying to say this in love, not to condemn, but I want you to see it from now across the fence, Asian American community. Do you know what it feels like as a black person, which you don't, to walk in an Asian store, Korean, Chinese, especially those two, and be followed as if you don't have money, or as if you coming into the store to steal or to rob? Now the tables have turned. How does it feel now on your end to have that pressure, that monkey on your back, the giant standing over you, the Goliath standing over you, and you're the David having to face the mountain of Goliath, of pressure, of feeling like you're a target. Even when you go to a grocery store, that's how black people feel when they walk into a lot of the Korean and Chinese stores. And now the tables have turned. And then the black people still having to deal with that aspect of when you go in the store, they're being followed, they're being watched. They also have to deal with the black on black crime, which seemingly have been swept under the rug. And the black on black crime is happening, if not just as much or even more than the police brutality where black people are killing each other. And to society, to those that are prejudiced and don't care for blacks, that gives them the upper hand. And also, what about the many times, I know I've heard this because I find Asian women incredibly attractive. That if an Asian woman or an Asian man, especially the women, should date out their race, don't date the black man. Make sure it's the Caucasian man. Find you a Caucasian man because Caucasian men are successful. Black men are lazy. Black men are troublemakers. If you notice, you don't see a lot of Asian women, if they're married outside their race, married to a black man. They're married to a Caucasian man. Why? Because the Caucasian man has been given this title that they are the level or the measure of success, and the black man is not. So imagine, now the tables are turned, how that feels to be watched, to be ridiculed, to be persecuted, to be discriminated against, to be beaten, to be killed, and to feel like you're a target in your own community. And it still continues to this day against the black people. And now my heart cries out, not only for the black community, but my heart cries out on behalf and for the Asian community. That I pray now that because the tables have turned, and because we've already are facing still another pandemic of COVID-19, and then another pandemic of hate crime and injustice and prejudice and discrimination because of the color of somebody's skin, and the fingers being pointed, like the fingers been pointed at the black community for so long, and nothing's changed. I don't care how many mega horns you have and how many crowds of people you have protesting in the street, that's not gotten anything solved. The only thing I've ever saw that got solved was through Martin Luther King and John Lewis in their era. They knew how to protest. The protesting that's going on now is a bunch of yelling and screaming and shouting and throwing stuff at the police and ridiculing the police when the police is out there to do their job. And it may not be 100% of the time, but a lot of times I see protesters, whether they're Asian, whether they're black, taunting the police, throwing things at the police, bottles, all kind of stuff. So we're still in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic. And now we have another pandemic on our hands against the Asian American brothers and sisters. And it breaks my heart. But now I'm I don't want to say I'm glad that it's happening, but I want good to come out of this, is what I'm saying. And I want the Asian American community to now feel, to see what it feels like for black people to have to deal with this, not just for a season, but for an entire, seemingly, lifetime. Think about that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free to click like and leave comments. This is the Ravenous Blackbird, and I welcome you back to my channel next time for the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and again, think about what I just said. And I pray that I spoke this to you in love without condemning you and beating you up. Have a great evening, and peace.